What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents alike? This your boy Enlightened Luciferian Prince coming at y'all once again. My last upload, I would like to thank a few people, just a few, I should say in my video. One is Joanna Jacobs from the UK, all the way from the UK. I appreciate you. Thank you very much, and to the Blairs as well. Much appreciated. Simple as that. We know privately what you've done. It is what it is. But it just makes me feel good that I'm actually viewed all the way in the UK. That's pretty awesome. Never been, but hopefully universe provided, one day I can go. What I would like to basically expound upon before, as I expounded upon before, is the concept of breaking down the religiosity of the ideas of what we call our spirituality in this society. Now, if you're watching this video around children, please remove them from your immediate vicinity because these videos are not for children. Now, when I was speaking about the liability that was created in Eden, you have to understand what I'm saying with an open mind. You have to interpret exactly the explanation I'm providing with an open sense of everything not being so finite when it comes down to context and certain things that are literary. The Bible, whether people believe it or not, is a literature work. It is something that was compiled. It was something that over time has had omissions, has had annotations, has had translations. It's literary. Okay, people? So when you look at it in the sense of being literal, that's literally what it is. It's just word and verbiage on paper. However, the powers that be, so to speak, have contrived this device, this mechanism, to basically brand and stamp it as being the official cause of humanity. Understand this also. The book is copyrighted, meaning that it is owned by a specific entity. Several, if you ask me. But sticking to the context of what I'm saying, the liability that was created in Eden, according to the book, was the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. That was the liability that was created. The liability that was created, according to the book, basically was to be superimposed upon humanity as being their own determining factor for the outcome of what they would experience in their life. Now, this is what the book says. In reality, people, you have to understand that the legal system and the system that we live in today functions based upon this same principle. It does. When you understand that this world is all about promoting the wrong thing, but never wanting to take accountability for the wrong thing, now you understand why majority of people are in the circumstances that they're in today. It's cool to create something. This is what I'm saying. Create something and make something that you would know would harm or cause the embetterment for people. But you create it. You put it out into the world, so to speak, through device, mechanism, whatever, invention, you name it. But then you take your hands off and say, hey, I know that this product that I just made, this invention, I just created this idea that I manifested has the potentiality to destroy or cause good, more so in a systematic sense, more so on the evil side, to basically cause chaos, but I'm not going to be responsible for it. Right? This is the thing that people have to understand when I say liability. Liability always falls upon the individual who participates in what has been created. I don't need to say that again. The system makes problems, but it doesn't want to ever be accountable for the problems it creates. Doesn't that sound just like Eden to you? Create the tree, put out a rule, do and don't, the deed's done, execute the judgment to those people who particularly participated in it, and never hold myself responsible for creating it in the first place. If you don't think that that's sadistic in and of itself, you're living in a false reality. That's the truth. Something was created with the intent to specifically know what will be done, but it was created based upon what? An idea. Passed into positive existence, acted upon, and then the law became the supreme ruling mechanism for humans. People do not believe me when I say this, and because they probably have done very little to no research on this. What you're calling God in the Bible, according to Genesis, if you actually read older translations, you would see that it went from a creative force that is unrestrained by temporal inhabitants, like what we call Earth and our sphere. And then you had what is called Lord God. And if you notice, when the couple were actually banished from the garden, one of the last things that was actually said contextually said, behold, man has become like one of us. Now, you have these fake ass theologians out here who pretend to think that, oh, that was God talking to Jesus. No. Demiurge. The Demiurges. The Elohim. That's what it was. It's many creator gods, people. Now, I know this might blow some people's mind because of secularized institutional religion, to believe that oneness of God, oneness, and all this. We get all that. We're speaking in the contextual sense of something being created, because as we know, in our sphere of human existence, only something that is physical can create something physical in order to have a physical effect, right or wrong. Now, I know this might be very hard for some people to understand and grasp, but it's a very significant truth, people. Your reality has been shaped, molded, and conditioned to have a system set in place by laws and rules that basically know how the system is and how it will affect you in their absence on the instances that they suggest to you, but they don't want to take the responsibility. That's Babylon for you people. Straight. We have seen over years of our existence that this system has no problem creating situations at any angle. but it doesn't ever want to accept responsibility. It always hands the responsibility over to you. It hands the responsibility over to you because that is how the God nature in the creative egotistical sense is basically allowing them to perpetrate themselves as leaders amongst you because you don't know the nature of what liability is. Liability is fictitious. It's false. But it's false in the notion that you have given it existence by participating in it in the first place. See, the story of the whole book could have ended, right? Had no participation took place. Think about it. Then, on one end, the tree's created. On the opposite end, serpent comes out of nowhere. Who's caught in the middle? No one ever talks about the creation of the serpent. Think about it. Now, when you further elaborate in your own education on certain things, you would know that that creator God at that time, who obviously particularly had perished. People don't believe that, but the further you go, you'll know exactly what I'm saying is very true. Works in tandem with the opposition and the opposing force. Now, I know this might shake a lot of people's core, but yes, good and evil do work together, people. Why do you think it was called the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? One can't exist without the other. Period. If you go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7, you'll see exactly what I'm saying is very true. There is nobody on the face of what we call human existence that will ever exist that will be so perfect. See, I knew that they fantasized and made you believe that the Messianic figure was perfect. No. The more you do research, the more you study, the more you learn, you'll see exactly what I'm saying is true. Because no individual can escape what is societally placed as far as a tier system is concerned as being right, too perfect, or wrong, criminal. Everybody falls in the in-between. That's a proven fucking fact. Yes, the Messianic figure, if you do your research and you understand the Apocrypha and you understand the removed books that were actually taken from Scripture, yeah, the Messianic figure, according to the writing, killed people. Hung around nothing but what? Tax collectors, harlots, you name it. Well, basically the ilk, the filth of society, right? How could you be, in any instance, sane enough to believe, especially with the imagery that they put out there? Because I know that when you say Jesus and all that, they put this figure that doesn't look like the entity at all. Doesn't. So that white man you have in your mind, that is Jesus, cast that away. Because synonymously, if you know the reality between the Messiah and the actual notion of poverty, then you understand exactly what I'm saying is very true. You can't be perfect. But the liability is still what was the pertinent fact of the contextual literature we're talking about in this particular video of the Bible. It's all about the liability. So Death is sacrificial in a sense of accepting liability. But remember, before y'all fall into a very dangerous spiritual trap, the Messianic figure died for its own sin, not yours. I know this might shake a lot of people to the core, but that's the truth. It died for its own sin. Why do you people think to this day that no one physically alive can basically do something in your stead? Even legally, temporal. Someone has to sign a power of attorney in fact to do something for you, right? Mm-hmm. How much more complexing is it for you to think that somebody can die in your place? Now, I know it's going to upset a lot of people. It is what it is. Think about that. Yet and all still, let's get to the end of the literary conversation. At the end of it all, when men proceed to their next point in their spiritual journey, you will be judged. Now, we've been, as a society, deluded to think that the world is saved and everybody's saved and everybody believes and all that. No, that's the ecclesiastical corporation called the Vatican's agenda to make you believe that, to have you buy into that system, to make you keep paying, and to make you spiritually invested, which is monetary, invested in the agenda in order to conquer and to keep on ruling, because it can't rule by just distinct terrorism. It has to rule by manipulative tactics. That's a fundamental fact. Straight. Now, it came in like a raging wind, but now it comfortably has placed itself amongst the populace of people, and is the whore that sits upon the beast, dressed in scarlet. Scarlet is symbolic of the blood that was shed for the people who believe in its system. And the gold cup that has the blood of the individuals who particularly, it's symbolic. It means particularly that this so-called system that you adhere to will not ever, ever, in any instance, have its measure of the thirst for those people who particularly buy into it. So they will kill you indiscriminately. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. That's what they do. That's what they have done. That's what they will do until it all comes to an end. Straight. Now, to the indoctrinated, you've just learned a very significant truth in less than 19 minutes. Now, I know that this might upset a lot of people because they have their preferences, they have their, their hang-ups about what they've been taught, told, so forth. We get that. But people, it's bigger than you could ever know. Serious. It all boils down to this. Something came into existence, created, that doesn't belong here, but has been here, and by suggestion, has totally had a lot of people's participation in regards to its existence, and that's why it's still here. I will not need to say that again. No. To those who have ears, listen to what I'm saying. Those who don't, hey, cut this video off right now. Go back to sleep. I never said a word. This system is a cancer. You can only obtain a general understanding of the system once you come out of the mechanism of participation and understand within yourself that the divine in you has been suppressed. Now, it's been suppressed because your participation has accepted the liability of the presentment of what indeed the system actually allows and doesn't allow, but it can only allow what it creates. Now, it has to create at every angle some sort of chaotic instance, which in and of itself is where we get the whole idea, banishment from Eden. Does that make more sense to you? I hope it does. Because as long as you keep participating in systematic destruction, you will receive the actual end result of your participation. And see, at every angle, they don't care because they make sure that they, as far as systematic influences are concerned, are never held responsible for the things that they promote. I rest my case. Your first time viewing this channel, like and subscribe. But this is the truth, people. Something, and still to this day, that has been created and will be created continuously because it's the motivating force, right? Will indeed rule you based upon your idea of participation in it. Because remember, people, it's all suggestion. See, the ideology that goes back to Eden, according to the literary text, if everything was created prior to the existence of this tree coming into existence, why the fuck did they have to touch it in the first place? Sort of like that kid that touches a hot stove. Now, this is only for the spiritually mature. If you're not spiritually mature, you're not mentally, capable of accepting what I just said, I totally get it. But this is a fundamental fact. If everything was created and it was so-called perfect, why the fuck did this have to come in the first place? Start asking yourself the same question to your government. I rest my case. Peace, light, love to y'all. Agents, fuck you. It is what it is. Start asking yourself some very serious questions. And also know that yes, the country that you reside in, called America, is an ecclesiastical corporation. Ran, in part, by the Vatican. Mark of the beast. Y'all take care.